First of all, I'd like to thank Woody Sullivan. He gave a talk a few years ago at Newbury about his reflecting ceiling dial, and I thought, oh, that sounds fun. And then I spent the next year standing on top of a ladder doing it. Mine is much simpler. First of all, the house faces about 30 degrees east of south, and the dial works from about 6:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. The 6:30 a.m. is sort of behind me as I was taking the picture, and 1 p.m. over on the far side. It's a meantime dial. I did it all by the clock and the radio time signals. First of all, there's a small mirror on there, on the windowsill, glued on, but also want to point out that we've got a lot of obstructions which stop the reflecting dial when the sun's quite low, because there's houses opposite and a tree, which I'll come back to that. That's just a close-up of the mirror, so it's quite small, but provides an adequate reflection on the ceiling there. So what we did was, it reflects a spot of light, and I drew around each one with charcoal on the half hour and the hour, and then you end up with a whole load of bits of post-it notes which are dated, and sometimes they sort of started fluttering down. But it was quite fun. It's also a little problem in that it's a slight Artex ceiling, so that was quite good. I didn't really need to date them all, but at that stage I had no idea how the design was actually going to work. This shows the start of painting the line just there. The yellow line is the summer solstice, which I'll come back to that as well. The design of it was quite a lot of decision making involved in that. I wanted it to be really clear so you could actually read it sensibly. So I decided to paint the hour lines in dark blue and the half hours in pale blue. The solstice and equinox lines are in yellow. And then I had decisions to make about the numbers as well. That's the start of painting with rows of masking tape, so I got them all evenly spaced. I had a small marker I used to measure it. The numbers, I used Arabic numbers just above the picture rail for the hours and in the same shade, and then I used Roman numbers for the months, which, that's me standing up there painting. It was quite a job, that. That shows the equinox line going across the ceiling. It comes down the wall behind as well. Also had a few jobs painting lines over picture rails, and even more fun across a very wiggly cornice. How I did that was paint it up the wall and across the ceiling, and then if you stand in line with the mirror and hold a ruler up, and then a paintbrush, you wiggle in and out in line with the ruler. That actually worked quite well to get the line, so when the line actually follows accurately over it. Now, the tree outside, I had a problem because it's a lovely big elm tree, and it's quite big. And if you draw a line from the mirror, about there, due south, you hit a tree. Right. But it's a really nice tree. I'm very fond of that. But if you're doing a reflecting ceiling dial, it sort of has problems. On Midsummer Day, the council came and they pruned it. Now, we never asked them or anything. It was actually growing a bit into the house. But you see a notice there which says, we're going to prune this tree tomorrow, so don't park here. So I went out and took a picture of it. And then later that day, that was it. So you see there's the mirror, and it makes things a lot clearer, especially in the summer. So that was a good bit of luck. It's now growing back again. So that was on the summer solstice. They trimmed that very conveniently at 8 in the morning. A few practical points of how we did the numbers. I wanted them all to look quite neat. So I thought, how on earth do you paint them? So then what I actually did was printed them out on the computer onto one big sticky label sheet, cut them out as little stencils. I left the same amount of gap at the bottom on each, so I knew I could place them exactly on the line. These are the month markers, one for each month, one on every line. And then you just stick it on and paint through and peel it off. And that worked really well. This shows quite a number of things. We put a red line on, because that's the 1st of May and it's our wedding anniversary. And we put our initials in a little heart, just a bit naff. That shows how the line looks totally different when you're not in line with the mirror over the picture rail. But if you're in line, it actually, the sun on the 1st of May tracks that line exactly over there. Here we've got, that's the 7:30, all the hour marks are above the picture rail. The month marks at about the 15th of the month on the inside of the line in the same shade of blue. That's month gaps. I left a small gap on the 1st of every month. That's one there. That's the 1st of May one. That's the bit of the summer solstice there. That's sort of it, really. And finishing. So it comes quite a long way down the wall and across the door. That's the winter solstice line, all across the door. That's December. Down the bottom, that's 11 o'clock, I think, 12, and earlier in the day, the sun just doesn't get down there at all, that time of the year. So, and you can see all the solstices. They start to sort of merge a bit around February, November, but, and you've got all these figures of 8s all over the ceiling. That looks quite fun. Okay, that's it. Thank you.